Hello and welcome to my first online tutorial for those of you who are looking to establish a solid practice routine during the distance learning period. Okay, so I'm going to be making a couple assumptions about where you're at with your playing and your knowledge of the guitar before we start. So a little bit of terminology. These are the frets. You'll need to know your fret numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And you need to have memorized that the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, and 12th fret have fret markers or dots. That'll help you navigate. So if I said 12th fret, you don't have to count all the way up. You can just say, oh, that's my double dot on the 12th fret. So those are our frets. Our fretboard is the top of the neck, which is the whole big piece here. Headstock, body, bridge, nut. You'll also need to know your string names. So starting at this string, the lowest string is low E, E, A, D, G, B, and high E. So an easy way to memorize that is Elvis, 8, Dynamite, Good by Elvis. Tuning also, if you have a snark tuner or an electronic tuner like this, you'll be able to tune your guitar perfectly. And if you need help with that, there are a bunch of online videos showing you how to tune your guitar. Let's start with our open chords. The first thing in a solid practice routine is to just get your left hand working with your right hand and warmed up a little bit. So I'm going to pull up my open chord chart here, and I'll put that on the screen for you also. And we're just going to go through chord by chord. Now, if there are any chords on here that you don't know by memory, I want you to stop the video at that chord and rewind, learn the chord, and then come back with me. Okay, so right now we're not working really on anything with our right hand. We're just working with our left hand. This is making an assumption that you are right-handed. Everything will be in reverse if you're left-handed. Okay, so A minor. And we're just going to strum it from the A string. So we leave out the low E string on this one. C. Again, you'll see the X on the low E string. And so we don't play that one. G. All 6 strings are going to sound on this one. Same with E minor. A. A7. E7. D7. Now that one you leave out the low E and A string. F. Now this is our first bar chord. There's a bar happening, which is these 2 strings are sounded by 1 finger. And then the other 2 fall in line. Now if you're looking for a little bit less physically demanding chord while you're first getting going with the F, you can play an F major 7, which is, and then the high E string is open. So you won't be barring that with this finger. It changes your whole hand position. It makes it a lot less physically taxing. Okay, D minor. G7. A sus2 or suspended. E. D. C7. And B7. Now those last 2, they're not bar chords, but they're also position-wise, they're a little more physically demanding than a couple of the other chords. So spend a little time with C7 and B7 if they are feeling trickier for you. So let's also talk right hand. Real quick, if you've never been shown how to hold a pick, just make sure to remind yourself to only hold it with 2 fingers. You want to hold it like this so that it's perpendicular to the strings. I think a habit that a lot of us get into when we're not thinking about our right hand is holding it with 3 fingers or even just kind of a pile-on of fingers. So you want to get really comfortable with just your index finger and thumb holding your pick and playing chords. Okay, so let's continue with our right hand and take a really easy chord progression with our left hand, and do what I like to consider is the basic strumming pattern. We use it all the time in guitar. Anybody who's in my class knows that we use it. We use it consistently when we play in 4/4 time. So it's a really good one to know. It's down, down, up, up, down, up. So notice that to get 2 ups in a row, you have to come back down, right? So down, down, up, and then when you come back down, you're not engaging the string. Down, down, up, up, down, up. So let's just try it with a G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down. Okay, so continue to play along with me. Let's take that a little bit faster. If that was easy for you, feel free to skip ahead. We're gonna get continuously in this video a little more advanced, progressively. Okay, so we're gonna go G, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, up, down, up, down. Now let's try it with 2 different chords. We're gonna go G transitioning to C, G transitioning to C. So 1 measure, down, down, up, down, up, transition, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, G, go. To C, down, up, down, up, back to G. Okay, let's do a 4-chord progression. See if you can just memorize this and play along with me. So we're gonna go G, C, E minor, A minor. It's just the first thing that came to my head. G, C, E minor, A minor. 1, 2, ready, go. C, E minor, A minor. And let's do it again. We're just warming up our fingers, getting our hands to work together. G. And end on the G chord. Okay, now that's a great example of something simple that can just warm your hands up. Choose 4 chords out of the chord chart that I had on the screen. And just play them with the most basic picking pattern that you can think of. Now you can also do you can do something in a different time signature, like 6/8, where maybe we'll just go down, 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 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to E minor. Down, 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 down. A minor. This gets our right hand working a little bit more. Do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, and G. Okay, so now quarterly we've kind of done a little bit of warm up. We can continue doing that if we feel if you feel like you have a couple of chords on that chord chart, B7, C7. Maybe F, you're working on the bar. If you're working on something that is challenging you with this grouping of chords, you might take that strumming pattern and just maybe sprinkle in one of those chords into an otherwise easier chord pattern. You might go C to F, C to F, just so that you can get that F and that bar working in an actual natural transition. Because it's really difficult to work on a chord and keep yourself engaged in working on that chord if you're just going 1 string at a time and just continuously adjusting over and over and over for 30 minutes. I don't think anybody wants to do that. So what's much easier for us to do is to just play it in an actual chord progression to make it more engaging and natural. So we'll go C to F, C to F. So let's try that in 4/4 time with our down, down, up, up, down, up. So C to F, C to F. We'll try it a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Okay, so continue doing that. I'd say in every practice session, take a new chord. We're all working on something new. So even if it's not one of the 16 chords on that chord chart I showed you, maybe it's bar chords, maybe it's minor or major 7 chords. Continue to do that in your warm-up. Just sprinkle in 1, maybe 2 chords that are brand new to you or challenging, and put them in an otherwise easy chord progression. Okay, moving forward. So open chords, why are they called open? They are called open because they have at least 1 open string. So take G. Notice those 3 strings in the middle are open. We consider it open when we're not pressing on the string. And closed voicing chords are like bar chords, where you're not playing any open strings. Like no open strings, no open strings. Even this chord, F, is a closed voicing chord because you're not playing the low E or the A. Okay, so it's really important to know your notes on your low E and A string. So, the trick that I use is the name Gabe, and I use the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and then I skip up to the double dot at the 12th fret. Now the 12th fret is the octave, so this would be E, high E, low E, high E. Okay, so we're gonna start with the 3rd fret. You'll notice that every fret that I just mentioned, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 12th, have dots on them. Okay, so we're gonna use those as markers. Our 3rd fret is G. If we compress our 3rd fret on the low E string, it makes a G. And then if we go up to the 5th fret, the next dot, that makes an A. We go up to our 7th fret, next dot, B, and then we skip that next dot on the 9th fret. A lot of our guitars do have a dot there. And we go up to the 12th fret, and that's high E. So that spells out Gabe, G, A, B, E. Okay, so if you have those as road markers, you can, if I say a B flat, you can say, okay, I know where B is. It's on the G, A, B, 7th fret, and I'll go down to the 6th fret, and then I know that's a B flat. Remember, flats on the guitar are away from you, and sharp is towards you on the neck. So if I say G sharp, I start at my G, and then I go up towards me, and there's my G sharp. Now if I say A flat, a lot of you might know that's the same note. I'll find my A, and I'll go away from me. A flat. So same note. So those are my notes on the low E string. Now the way that is helpful to us is we can find the root note of the bar chord and then play it from that fret. So for example, if I said play an A flat major chord, you wouldn't have an open chord, right? So you'd either need a capo or you can play a bar chord. So if I said play me an A flat major, it'd be right there. I'd find my A flat root, and then I play my bar chord. Now we're gonna get into bar chords in a little bit, so don't sweat that for now if you don't know your bar chords. Okay, so E string, just to recap, Gabe, G, A, B, E, Gabe. 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, and 12th fret. Now on the A string, I teach it as C, the D, E, A. It doesn't really mean anything, but it is catchy enough to just stick in our brains. So C, and then the D, E, A. 3rd fret, C, D on the 5th fret, 7th fret. Remember, all of these frets have dots, so they have fret markers. E, C, D, E, and we skip up to A. Okay, so if I said, find me a C, go ahead and find a C. There's your C, because I know C, the D, E, A. Now let's find a D on the A string. D. And let's find a high A on the A string. We know it's up here. Okay, so now if I was going to find a flatted note, it's away from me. Let's find a D flat. So I find my D, and I go to D flat. Okay, now let's find a sharp note, D sharp. So I find my D, and I come towards me, D sharp. Now, there are a couple of notes that don't have sharps or flats between them. This might be old information for some of you, but for those of you who it's new information, B and C don't have a sharp between them, and E and F do not have a sharp between them. So if I wanted to go to the next note from E, it's not actually E sharp, it's F. There's my F. So that's one really important thing to remember. And on the low E string, B to, it's not B sharp, it is C. So I go B to C, and then E to F. Same down here. Here's my C. If I go down one note, it's actually a B. So there's my B. Here's C and B. Okay. Great. So notes on the low E and the A string are really important because that is where we find our bar chord root. So let's talk about bar chords. I'll put up a bar chord studies sheet on the screen for you. We're going to start with our E root or 6-string root bar chords. I'm going to call them E shape because they are the same shape as an E and an E minor. So if we take our E, we take E minor. If we just change the fingering, so 3rd finger, 4th finger, and 2nd finger, I should recap. That's another assumption that I'm making, that you have memorized your finger numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is pinky, ring finger is 3, middle finger is 2, index finger is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to take my 3rd finger, 4th finger, and 2nd finger, and put them in an E position. Now I'm going to move that up to the 7th, and 6th fret, and then I have this finger open now. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this finger is I'm going to do what's called a bar. I'm going to make this, and then I'm going to play that shape, that E shape. Now, if this is your first time trying it, you'll probably notice right away that it doesn't sound just like this when you try it. This is a new type of chord. It is way more physical than the open chords that we did earlier. Way more physical. So a lot of times this will take months to get down without buzzes. It's really physical, so it's a whole new part of your finger that needs to form a callus. So you probably have calluses now from playing open chords with your left hand on your fingertips. Now you need to kind of beef up the skin on your index finger, which is going to be barring for these chords. And the best way to do it is just play songs and warm-ups with open chord, or with bar chords rather. So I like to start just warming up my my bar with 2 strings. Try that on the 5th fret. So 1, 2. Now let's try 3 strings. Now if that's all you can get done, if this is your first time using bar chords, if that's all you can get done today, that's great. If you go to the 4th string and now everything sounds a little more buzzy, that's totally fine. You did 3 strings, you worked your muscles, these brand new muscles in your hand that you probably never worked out for any other reason before. You have strengthened them, and then tomorrow you're going to be just a little bit stronger, the day after that, and stronger until you're able to do all 6 strings so that they sound just as fluid as an open strum. So we're going to go 1, 2, we're going to go 3. Now let's try 4. Again, if you can't do that yet, that's fine. 5. So starting in the A. So now I'm starting to feel it. And 6. Notice if I have access to it, which you don't in your E-shaped bar chord, you can use this finger to help compress. When you're just working on those muscles, feel free to do that. But then we're going to take it and we're going to take that shape. Remember, we formed it down here. 3, 4, 2. Move it up to the 7th fret, and we're going to take that bar and we're going to play an E-shaped bar chord. Now, this is not an E chord. Of course, we found our root using G, A, B, E. There's our 5th fret. Our root is A. So even though this is an E-shaped bar chord, don't let that confuse you. This is an A chord. That would make this a G chord. Go ahead and play that with me. That would make this an A chord, B chord, E chord if you can do it. I have trouble with that because I don't have a cutaway on my guitar. Some of you might have a cutaway right here on your guitar. If you don't, you'll notice that chords up here on an acoustic guitar are pretty challenging. So let's just take the G, A, and B chords, and we're just gonna go down, down, up, up, down, up. We're gonna go down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2, ready, go. A, B, and keep going on B, and back to G. A, B, and again on B, G, A, B, and then hold the B. Okay, so if that was challenging for you, feel free to make a note of where you were in the video, what the timestamp, and you can just use that to play along with it, and use the playback speed function if that's challenging you at that speed. Use the playback function on YouTube to put it down to 50% or 25%. Make it really slow so you can really get every one of those notes sounding without buzzing. Thanks for listening and playing along. Now that we've got the basics down, I'm going to periodically be creating more videos that you can use to play along with for open voicing and bar chord warm-ups, and of course to learn some new songs and guitar styles during our distance learning period.